Hey guys, it's Maria. I'm going to talk a little bit today about ear infections. Pretty much ear infections and speech development and why those two things go together. Basically, the reason we're concerned with ear infections is the same reason we're concerned with any kind of hearing loss. If a child's having a hard time hearing, they're going to have a hard time talking. It's not that they're not going to talk, they might just do it a little bit later, or they might have a hard time hearing certain sounds, so they might speak with a little bit of imprecise sound production here and there. Now, what is an ear infection? An ear infection is just an accumulation of liquid that built up inside your ear canal, usually due to a cold. That liquid sat in your eustachian tube for a long time and now it became infected. Gross, right? It just got a little nasty inside your ear. So the reason we're concerned with ear infections is because that child has been hearing almost like they're underwater for the time that that liquid's been sitting inside their ear canal. Every child gets an ear infection. They all do within their childhood. It's just a normal part of life. The kids that we're concerned with aren't the ones who got one or two here and there. We're concerned with the ones who seem to be chronic ear infection kids, the ones that are constantly at the doctor's office, one infection after another. The reason that's important, it's almost like a timeline thing. So if my child gets an ear infection today because there's been fluid, it's been sitting in his ears, he's been dealing with it for a certain amount of time, but it hasn't hurt him, I'm not going to know anything's going on. By the time I know something is going on, he's running a fever, he's getting super crabby, he's starting to pull and tug at his ears. Now I'll make a doctor's appointment. The doctor will prescribe antibiotics, and then I wait for those to take effect. What I don't know is how long that fluid was sitting in his ear canal in the first place. That entire amount of time is how long that child wasn't hearing correctly. Couple that with the kiddos who get treated, and not long after that, they're right back at the doctor's office with another infection. They had a very tiny amount of time that they could hear before fluid started building up again, fluid started getting infected. It's just a vicious cycle. That entire amount of time, they haven't been hearing correctly. And because of that, they're usually going to have a hard time talking on time. They're just going to be delayed talkers for that same reason. Now, PE tubes. Yay! I love PE tubes. They're a really easy solution to a problem. It is literally a tiny little plastic tube that gets inserted inside the ear canal. The way they work is they open the ear canal and usually move it into an angle so that fluid can drain out from the ear canal all the way out the ear, and it doesn't sit, get lodged, and become infected. This is something that's done usually by the ear, nose, and throat doctor. You need a referral from your pediatrician. You have to go to the ENT. It usually requires some sort of anesthesia to be inserted. It's a process to get it done. But if you're a parent of a child who has chronic ear infections, I do recommend it. It makes a huge difference, and you'll notice that you'll spend a lot less time at the doctor's office and a lot less time and money on antibiotics as well. Now, by about age 7, most of our kids should outgrow their ear infections, and the reason for that is basic anatomy. Now, the nose and the ear are no longer in a straight line or another sort of shape line. They should be tilted to where the nose is above the ear, and the liquid should be able to drain out easily. By about that age, unless the child has some other issues anatomically, it'll be a little bit longer. If not, then we can just keep those PE tubes in. The tubes should fall out on their own. As the child grows, their ear canal will grow, everything will start to shift, and they'll be able to fall out on their own. Okay, for the record, I have a lot of strange questions from parents and a lot of interesting comments. So I want to make sure that you know an ear infection is not a hearing loss, and PE tubes are not hearing aids. Chronic ear infections can, in some strange cases, lead to ear infections, but chronic ear infections can lead to a certain type of hearing loss. It's not a common thing. When your child goes to get his hearing tested at the doctor's office, he's going to fail the hearing test because he has liquid in there. And so the test is completely off. Your child doesn't necessarily have a hearing loss. They just have the fluid buildup inside their ear, and so their test results are going to be different. So once you get your ear infection cleared up, get them tested again, then check and see if they actually have a hearing loss. But an ear infection itself is not a hearing loss. Pressure equalizing tubes are not hearing aids. It's just something we do to prevent infections. Make sure that our kids are healthy and make sure that they're hearing correctly until they're old enough to stop having infections. There are a lot of other things out there. Homeopathic medications, chiropractic adjustments, different things that you can do to help this and to prevent further ear infections without having to go the antibiotic route. But I'm going to digress and get off subject. We're not going to talk about that right now. All right, guys, so basically, ear infections, fluid buildup in the ear, makes the child feel like they're hearing underwater. If we have a lot of them in a row, it causes us to feel like we're hearing underwater, and it will impact or decrease our speech development, so that usually we talk late or we have some problems with pronunciation of our sounds. That's basically all that there is to it. Thank you. Bye.